Hello everyone, welcome back to Filmmakers Unleashed. My name is Finn, your beautiful host, and today I'm joined by a wonderful guest once again, Den of Geeks. How the hell are we, my friend? It is so good to see you again.
It's wonderful to be back. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed our Andor talk, so I'm very excited to be back here. I've been looking forward to it for the past week.
Me too, man. I think I've done so many casts over the years with so many different people. I think that was probably one of my favorite ones because I've worked with obviously a lot of passionate people who like to talk about movies and stuff. But when it comes to you and Andor, that is like the best. That is the best duo since Batman and Robin. Oh my God, you and Andor. I can't separate them. It's
No, I'm the Andor guy.
yeah. If anything, Andor, I'm coming to this man right here. He knows your shit, honestly. But
I've been dick writing since day one.
I remember, I remember coming on every time it was like the day of a new Andor episode. I checked Instagram, you put on story saying "Happy Andor Day, everyone." I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy, this guy.
No, I mean, for reference, I bought an Andor poster the day after the first trailer aired.
To be honest, I don't blame you. I really don't.
Yeah,
It is.
after that, I was all in. Well, it wasn't the day after, but it was like I think it was not more than a week. But yeah.
Yeah. You know what? You've said last time you were on, you said the most real thing I've ever heard in my entire life was that Andor is the best and worst thing to ever happen to Star Wars. And
Oh, yep.
because obviously, if anyone listening does remember, obviously Andor is the best Star Wars anything period, right? Best anything since Empire Strikes Back. But it's also the worst thing because I look back on every recent project, Kenobi, the bollocks of Boba Fett, which is I can't, don't even get me started on that. But everything going forward, it just, you know what I mean? It's like it's never going to be Andor quality.
I mean, the thing is, it's like I didn't care for Kenobi, and I outright hated Book of Boba Fett. Well, hate's a strong word. I just thought it was really bad, I guess.
Right.
I already felt that way before I saw Andor, but after I saw Andor, it just made so much of it that much more embarrassing to me, at least.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was the same thing with, like, a lot of the Marvel shows. Just the fact that they were capable of this the entire time and they just haven't been doing it is a little baffling. Because, I mean, obviously not everything's going to have writing as sharp as Andor. That's a high bar. But just like production-wise, like in terms of how it looks, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because honestly, I think with a lot of these Star Wars and Marvel shows, even though I do quite enjoy a lot of them, but still, I have to, every time I finish an episode or a season, I always have to do so many just mental gymnastics. I feel like,
Yeah.
no, that was good. Maybe, no, it was
Yep.
good. I've got to talk myself into, shut the fuck up, Finn. It was incredible. And then,
I think Hawkeye was the biggest one for me. I did so many like gymnastics in my head to try and justify that show being good. I eventually gave up because I love the Matt Fraction comics and I really wanted to like that show. And granted, there are quite a few elements of that show I really like, but
yeah, you were hyping it up for a week. I could tell with each episode. I could just sense your disappointment. I could really. The thing is that for so many issues with Hawkeye, Moon Knight, just bits of WandaVision, I still really enjoy those shows. It's like there's still parts of say Kenobi that I really enjoy, but obviously but with Andor, it's you can't really compare them. It's like with Andor, I can't finish Andor and then go, I don't have to talk myself into liking anything. I just straight up know that was like the best thing I've ever seen. But
yeah,
it's again, like you said, in terms of quality this entire time, Kenobi, the cinematography was just so many things, and cinematography and writing about that show. It's like you had the capability of that with Andor. Why was it not in those? It just mind boggles me, my guy.
I saw someone on Twitter say something interesting that I do agree with. Andor was never going to be a merchandising poll, right? Nobody, like, Andor was just not going to sell many toys compared to Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi. So I saw someone on Twitter, like, just speculating that could have been why they were so hands-off with Andor, is that they just let it happen, let it be a little experiment, because, if it flops, it's not really going to, like, if Andor flopped, would anybody care? Like, if it were bad? Besides me.
Yeah, besides me and you. Yeah, besides me and you, yeah.
besides like the Rogue One fans, I don't think anybody would have cared. Like, right? Like even a lot of Rogue One fans probably wouldn't have cared at all.
Yeah.
But with Kenobi, I think that they were, because I mean, you have so much talent behind and in front of the camera with Kenobi. I mean, you look at like the crew; it's incredible. Deborah Chow's a fantastic director. I do not remember the DP's name, but he shot Old Boy. He shot Last Night in Soho. You had John Williams and Natalie Holt working on music. Are you kidding me?
I know, like her score in Loki was like insane.
But yeah, it just didn't work at all, and that's a shame. I mean, I know there are a lot. The show has its fans, but I don't happen to be one of them personally. And it's I didn't expect me to prefer the prequels over it. That's kind of what got me. I'm not like a prequels fan too much. It's more so I appreciate them than I like them. I think it's rare that we see someone with such unique vision with so much money, but I think that because it was George Lucas's uncompromised vision, without a doubt.
Right. Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it just gets to the point. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, Kenobi didn't feel like anybody's vision to me. It just felt like a corporation's vision to try and make money.
Oh my god, dude,
that
is okay. Right, whilst I was preparing, setting up, I thought of the best example, and this bits perfectly of what you just said, right? You've got shows like The Mandalorian, Kenobi. Whilst I do love season 2 and 1 of Mandalorian, chef's kiss. But okay, you got all the normal Disney Plus shows. Okay, that to me, it's like going to McDonald's and ordering like a fast food burger.
Yeah.
And it's just fine. It's just packaged, corporate, put together, by the books, followed, just a normal by the books burger, just put out there, right? And you eat it, and sometimes it's fine, or sometimes it's shit, but you can't complain because it's just put together last minute, and that's all it's designed to do. And then you have Andor, and that's like going to a 5-star restaurant, and you order 3 beautiful meals, a starter, a main, and a dessert, and every single tiny fragment of that meal is put in with such care because they want to make something you want to enjoy, not a product. And that, I hope that makes sense. I really do.
One thing Tony Gilroy was saying when he was talking about Andor was that he was trying to make it as non-cynical as possible. And to me, at least, that's something I kind of felt throughout that entire show. It's never really I never felt like I was being pandered to, I guess. You know?
Right, yeah.
Even like, honestly, you go back to Mando season 1, it's kind of the same way. I never really felt like I was being pandered too much. The references were all just kind of in the backdrop, you know? It's like, I think like with as reliant on cameos as like the Mandoverse stuff has become, it's kind of easy it's easy to forget how much season 1 stood on its own 2 feet, you know?
Right, yeah.
And obviously season 2 came around, lots of surprise guest stars. But to me, at least, I enjoyed it. I thought that the guest stars were fun. I thought that, because we hadn't really seen anything like that before, there was a novelty to it, I guess. And while I did miss like the standalone nature of season 1, I really enjoyed season 2 personally. I thought that it was a lot of fun.
Oh, I love season 2. I think with me, I was excited for season 2 because I think there's always a part in every single fan base where if it fits with the story or not, if a certain character shows up, you get excited. Yeah. But I think with season 2, it's like every character had a reason to be there. Same reason why I really, really enjoyed, well, I almost said Star Wars No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. There's a reason why they were in the story. But then if you look at, say, for example, Boba Fett, why is, I get Mando's story now, but it's like, why is Mando in this? Why is Luke in this? Why is Ahsoka just pop up for no reason? R2's there, and it's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's when...
Yeah.
That's the exact, like, Book of Boba Fett, that episode, the Luke episode, that was exactly where the cameos kind of wore thin.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really had no reaction to much of anything in that episode. Because it all just felt empty to me. Like in Mando season 2, it felt fulfilling every week to me. Like, I finished the Bo-Katan episode or the Ahsoka episode, and it worked. But to me, at least with Book of Boba Fett, and also the novelty had worn off at that point. Like, it's kind of weird to say this, but you know, Mando season 3, when Zeb shows up, I just kind of shrugged my shoulders and said, "Okay." Like, I really didn't have much of a reaction to that, weirdly enough. Like, you know, 2 years ago, I would have been flipping out. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have heard me shut up about that for weeks. But it's just like the live action to, you know, the animation to live action transition happens so often now. It's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, that just killed me for a second. I completely forgot Zeb made a cameo.
Yeah.
It was okay.
That's the weirdest one in the entire show.
Okay, say for example, right, you've got like Ahsoka and Mando, her whole episode in the jungle, and that episode was incredible, right? Reason to be there in a story, perfect. And then Zeb just shows up this random part just for the audience to go, oh my god, it's Zeb. You know what I mean? It's like What's
even weirder about that to me is that I at least expected them to show Zeb in like the Ahsoka trailer or something, right? But no. So like, what was the point of that?
No idea. I mean, I don't even know if he is or isn't going to be in Ahsoka. I presume he is. But it's like, why was he in Mando? It just makes that, right. I genuinely, right, I'm not a professional writer by any means. If anyone's going to call me out, I'm not a professional writer, but sometimes I want to know what the writers are cooking, specifically Favreau, because he cooks on the first 2 episodes. Mando Season 3, first 2 episodes, and Book of Boba Fett, cook. But after that, he just loses his mind completely. I mean, you've got decent or sometimes okay, good episodes in there, but it's like the pacing. I just want to watch his mind when he writes. I bet it would just be 2 monkeys picking fleas out of each other. I want to, you know what I mean? I just want to see how the pacing just collapses. It's like with Mando, for example, right? Perfect 2 episodes, sets up the whole Mandalore, where's the story going with the Mythosaur, everything like that. And then everything after that, up until the last 2 episodes, it's just, nothing really happens. It's just a hollow part of the story. And then you've just got him rushing to the end going, oh shit, we've got to do Mandalore quick. And then afterwards, it's just the last episode, it's just rushing to get all these plot lines finished. And then because he's rushing, nothing actually works, makes any sense. Then it's just over. So it's like, what was the point? You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes I don't know.
Yeah. This season's weird for me to talk about. It's one that I still have been gathering my thoughts on, but I've also not been thinking about it much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just kind of nothing. So, okay, so season 3 kind of backtracks a little. Well, not backtracks, but it strays away from the whole reliance on cameos thing. The cameos in this, they're actual cameos. Like, it's one scene. Like, it's by definition a cameo, unlike season 2, which was like a lot of guest stars, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to standing on its own 2 feet, which I was excited about. And I was excited about the prospect of retaking Mandalore. That's an interesting storyline. It's just the way that they went about just about everything in this season was really weird. It just from the first episode, I got weird vibes. And like, I didn't dislike the first episode, but I was kind of taken aback by it, I guess, because it just felt off.
I felt like that. Yeah.
The vibes felt off, which is, I know that's like, you know, for me sitting here criticizing this show, just saying the vibes are off is not really a good criticism. But like,
especially this first episode.
Right? The first episode, that's the best way I can describe it. It's just the vibes were off.
Yeah.
Something was not quite right. And I think like a large part of that was the absence of Ludwig, who did not do the score for this season.
I miss him. I miss him so much.
I'll be honest, I felt that the entire season. It only progressively kind of got worse for me. Which, I mean, probably make an argument this season didn't even deserve his music, but I'm gonna be at Christopher Nolan's doorstep if Oppenheimer doesn't have the best score I've ever heard.
Yeah. Oppenheimer will cook with its score. It will slap so hard. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. it was, you know what, is a really good point that you brought up the lack of Ludwig, because there was a lot of moments in, say, the last two episodes where the only really uplifting moments were just reused scores. And whilst I'm
Yep.
all for reusing scores, sometimes it's like, does that score work there? You know what I mean? It's like I appreciate them bringing back scores in a slightly different way, but it's like they use like the main Mandalorian theme once everyone was charging at each other, and it just didn't fit for me. And I'm just like, this needed another track. You know, it just. I mean, again, I'm not a professional. It comes with music like yourself, because you're amazing at making music, by the way. But it was just everything felt so off. And another thing, which probably gave me, it's just a confusing season to look at, because I don't exactly know what happens, because with Boba Fett, with Boba Fett and Mando, so I'll keep talking, but Boba Fett and Mando really don't have an arc in their own show. Now, as a writer, you want to take your character from point A to point B. You want to see how they change and evolve over the course of the season. But the fact that every single episode, every single week, I'm actually thinking, I really hope we get to see Mando have a character moment in a show called The Mandalorian, is not a good sign.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, okay, so, and something that became more of an issue for me as each episode went on, Jon Favreau, I don't really think he's thought too much about who these characters are as people. Or if he has, I mean, I'm sure he has at some point, but it just, I guess it doesn't show, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah.
Like, the armor was in, what, almost every episode this season, maybe all but like one or two, right?
I think all but like the first one, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, never mind. She was in the first episode. I think all but one, yeah.
Yeah, all but one or two. She was in a majority of the season. What do we know about her? Like, she was a very mysterious character in season 1 in Book of Boba Fett, and that was fine because we didn't see her all too much, right?
Yeah.
But we spent a lot of time with her this season, and we know nothing about her, like, at all.
Yeah,
like,
same with Fennec. Nothing.
Yeah, it's the exact same problem as Fennec. It's like, and even, okay, so I didn't really think about this till the finale because I've seen Clone Wars and Rebels, right? But if you hadn't seen those shows, what do you really know about Bo-Katan?
That's an excellent point.
Like, she had the Darksaber, she lost it. But, like, beyond that, I mean, she has such a complicated past. Like, she was introduced as, like, a domestic terrorist, and they really never, like, let people know that.
No,
I think that's so strange. It just does such a poor job building its characters, to me, at least. And it's like, I think the mystery worked for the first two seasons, but it like with the ending of season 2, at least, with Mando taking off his armor and you see him crying, it's like, that to me felt like we were going to start breaking down barriers with these characters and exploring sides of them we hadn't seen before. But instead, it just feels like we've just put the wall up bigger than it was before.
It seemed like the writers and just everyone behind felt they only saw the mask, not the people underneath the mask, which was very different from season 1 and 2, because again, I think Mando's arc in season 2 particularly was brilliant, is because it was very much simple. Get Grogu to a Jedi, but along the way he learns different things about his religion and how, you know, you trying to kind of change the way you think and feel to do the right thing. That's kind of just sums up his arc. And then again, season 3, that's not really touched upon at all, because it's like a big deal about him taking his helmet off. And it was touched upon slightly in Boba Fett, but the whole point of the season was really, it felt like it was going to be taking Mandalore, the Darksaber, and his conflict between Bo-Katan about, obviously, the Darksaber, and him taking his helmet off, and him dealing with his decisions towards his, you know, his code with the Creed. And ever since, you know, the Andor-style episode with episode 3, that was just kind of just shot down straight away. It's like his character arc is done, he's been redeemed, and that's it. His character arc was done this season. That's all he did. It just frustrates me so much, but how, because I love seeing character moments. I love Mando as a character. I love action scenes with the Mandalorian, but it's like I love seeing the person aspect of him. But the fact that they never explored that this season really bugged me.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, You know, it's funny because people, I think this is true. I saw someone on Twitter. I wish I remembered who said this so I could give them credit for it. But someone on Twitter, which, you know, isn't my, it isn't my go-to source for all things intelligence, but I thought it was a really good point. It's like seasons 1 and 2 were kind of all vibe, no plot. And then this season was just kind of all plot, no vibes.
Right. Yeah.
What do you kind of think about that?
I'm with you. Yeah.
That's a really good way to put it. It just kind of lost the charm to me. It lost charm in its complexities and its ambitions, and it just kind of forgot to be fun, and it forgot to be endearing. I mean, to me at least, that's what it felt like, because everything just felt dry. It had like that prequel thing where it just everything felt kind of dry and lifeless.
Everything took a step back. Everything.
Huh?
I think every single aspect of the show took a step back from the previous season. I mean, everything.
You know, another thing is like, you know, you kind of like even Coruscant. It's like in Andor. That was kind of the first time it felt like a real place to me that I could like go to. At least in live action, that was like the first time where I was like, okay, yeah, I believe that, you know, this city planet is a real place I could go visit. It just kind of felt like it was fake. It just kind of felt lifeless, not real. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. It's such a weird season for me to think about. Because there's just, okay, so if I can go on a little tangent here real quick, while, you know, we were just talking about characters.
By all means.
Bo-Katan, you know, she's kind of like the pseudo main character of this season. But she's, in actually, to compare it to Andor here, okay, so this is actually the case with Andor for much of its runtime. But Bo-Katan's like a passive protagonist, right?
Right.
Things kind of happen to her. She doesn't really do anything. Like, okay, she's given the Darksaber, right? She happens to take a dive into the mines of Mandalore and accidentally, you know, joins the cult. She's just like, sure, I'll do it. She doesn't really make it a point to doing it. She's just like, oh, I can be in the cult? Sure, why not? She just kind of accidentally kept her helmet on, right?
Yeah.
And then the saber just happened to get destroyed. It's like none of it was a conscious effort from her. It just kind of happened to her. And that's exactly what happened to Cassian. But the thing with Cassian is that come the prison arc, Cassian he's forced to be active. He can no longer sit around and let things happen to him or else he's going to die, right? Like, he is in a prison, he is suffocating, he can no longer just sit there and just try and live his life. He can't just sit there and let things happen to him. Like that entire montage at the end of episode 3 of Andor, it's just literally showing things happening to him. He's getting taken off of Kenari, he's getting taken off Ferrix. But Bo-Katan never gets a moment like that this season, right? There's never this moment where she finally takes charge of her life and starts making decisions for herself. It's just things just kind of happen to her, and that's really it. I think she deserves better than that.
Yeah, if anything, that was really the plot of season 3, is that no characters really had a drive to do anything. It was like the moment they've been redeemed, it's like, where did they go from here? It's like, all right, we can just chill out on this desert planet. It's like no one had a drive to do anything. That's why genuinely after season 3 or the episode where they were saving those dragons or whatever, it was like I genuinely felt like, what's going on here? No one wants to do anything. The main drive of these characters is that they want to have a sit down after rescuing this child. There's no drive from anyone, and that's why, again, like you said with Andor, right? Thing is with Andor, it's like he is a main character, but there's multiple main characters in Andor. Obviously, you got Mon Mothma, you got Luthen, you got all sorts, right? Dedramir, and it's like with Mando, I feel like that could be an interesting way to go. You've got multiple Mandalorians, multiple different characters, but the thing is that nobody does anything or has an arc in Mando. But with Cassian, right? So I'll go on, right? Mando, he's not in his own season quite a bit, and I'd say that some cases in Cassian's show. But thing is, Andor actually has moments for him where he can sit down and actually have character moments, and whilst he's in little snippets of, say, certain episodes, when he gets certain episodes to himself, you feel his character progressing. He's actually doing something as a drive. You can actually see where his path's going. Mando doesn't have any of that with any of its characters. No one gets a moment to sit down and have a conversation with one another or talk things through or cry or actually yell, or no one says anything. They just talk in the same tone and there's no drive, which I think is so incredibly boring. So boring.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's like, again, back to Andor, it's like Cassian was an a passive protagonist for like a lot of that show, but that was the point. That was part of his character arc, was him learning to not be that way and him learning to take charge and be a leader. And everyone around Cassian is mostly a very active character. Luthen is very active. Mon Mothma is very active. If you look at the characters that surround Cassian for much of the story, it's them making decisions and Cassian getting caught in the crossfire.
Right.
With Mando, it's just, a lot of the time, it weirdly doesn't feel like people are making a lot of important decisions. For the most part, I don't know. It's just a season of things happening to me. It doesn't feel like it's a lot of it is earned. It just feels like it's happening because it needs to happen and not because the characters want it to happen.
Yeah, if anything, each episode, no episodes or things are changed by characters' decisions. It's just by things happening that they have to react to. It becomes so frustrating because I still love Mando as a character, but this season is really tainted so much. Thing is, it's these past few shows, Kenobi, Boba, Mando, it's really changed my perspective on Star Wars. Because it's like, we've seen that they can do it with The Last Jedi, Rogue One, Andor, but for some reason they just don't. And it's like, I know that I've seen somewhere that Jon Favreau was written all of Mando Season 4 already, but sometimes I think, have they actually learned from Boba or Mando? Are they just still going to keep doing the same thing? Are they still going to be spoon-feeding people? Like, oh, look, there's a cameo from someone you remember in this movie or video game. Here you go. There's no plot to it. It's just things happen. And
the moment. So I went into, we talked about how Andor kind of ruined Star Wars in a way by just being an impossible bar. And I went into Mando not wanting to compare it to Andor, right?
Right.
I didn't feel like doing that. That's tiring to me. But the season didn't really make it easy for me because the third episode they spend almost the entire time doing a political subplot in Coruscant. And
that went nowhere. Yeah, that went nowhere. I think everything.
I had to scratch my head a little bit when that happened because I had a lot of friends who weren't watching Mando at the time who were big Andor fans. Like my buddy Alex Osman, he's a massive Andor fan he wasn't watching Mando at the time. So I called him up and I was like, dude, you're never gonna believe what today's episode of Mando was. It was a politically driven episode on Coruscant.
I bet it was like, get the fuck out of here.
No, he was in I had him pull it up just to see. It was such a weird episode for me. That one was just so strange because the writing wasn't really any different or any better, and it kind of felt. I don't know, man. I don't know how that they were able to put that out there after. Like I don't know how the producers over at Lucasfilm, like Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know how she didn't see that and was like, yeah, there's a big difference here. A
massive difference. Yeah, you know what? It's another thing, right? Why is it that obviously, Filoni and Favreau are behind all this, right? They created like Bo-Katan and Mandalore. They did all that with the Clone Wars, right? But it seems that they have so much little respect for the stuff that they've created. Like with Mandalore, they didn't really do anything. The Darksaber, they just straight up crushed and threw away like it was nothing. And Bo-Katan is basically like such a different character. The same with Boba Fett. Same with just kill off Cad Bane like that. And sometimes I just sit and think, are you mental? These are your children, your things that you've spent so many years writing, and then you just get rid of, or just screw over last minute. And it's just like I actually I laughed so hard during the finale because I avoided spoilers all day. But it just genuinely, it made me laugh because I was really hoping at a really good like Mandalore style episode. but it felt like people playing with like action figures. It was like, oh, here comes Gus. Sorry, not Gus Fring. Moff Gideon. Here comes Moff Gideon. He's in an Iron Man Mandalorian suit, and his clones are part Jedi, and they like Beskar, and they will take over Mandalore. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? It's such a reach, it's such a bizarre plot out there, and he shoots lasers from his hands, and it's like, oh god, it just felt so bizarre. I just sat back thinking, again, like you said, I wasn't expecting Andor, I was expecting Mandalorian, but it's like, what is this? At the same time, I'm still in just disbelief at how crash. I ain't got no words for it. I'm stuttering, mate. I really am. I can't break down this plot sometimes because I don't want Andor. I just want Mandalorian at the end of the day. I don't want anything huge political. It just
That's happened? What I want. I don't want Andor from Mando. I just want, as you said, the first 2 seasons of Mando. That was the bar I had in my head. I want it to be that good. Because you're right. This season tried to get into politics, and it's like, I want Star Wars to be political. There are a lot of people who don't. I do. I think Star Wars has always been political. Star Wars is at its best usually when it's political. Andor was obviously like the most politically driven Star Wars to date. Like, I think the prequels are very bold with their political statements. Like, you know, in a post 9/11 world, comparing George, like, I know you're not American, so I don't know how much of this you'll know what I'm talking about, but like, you know, comparing basically Anakin Skywalker to George Bush is kind of who's the president at the time of 9/11. Basically, you know, that's kind of a bold, because, you know, I know I don't know how many of you guys listening right now are American, but there was this kind of like wave of patriotism following 9/11, where, you know, it was just kind of like, hey, you know, you're either with us or you're against us. Fuck yeah, America, God bless. Fuck the terrorists, you know, screw the Middle East, all that, right? Like, you know, the whole war in the Middle East, all that shit. That George Lucas was calling all that out in the prequels, which was a really bold statement at the time, especially for a movie that big. But at the end of the day, if you want to, you can kind of drown that out of the movies. With Andor, you can't. Like, the thing that's bothered me about a lot of the political statements being made in the Disney era is that it's not really bold or anything interesting. Like, you look at what the politics are in the sequel trilogy, they're either non-existent or they're just kind of stuff that will mostly be universally agreed upon. It's nothing like bold, I think. And this season of Mando just fell flat on its fucking face with politics, I think, which is a shame. Bad Batch came out. Do you watch that?
Oh, do you know what? I feel so bad saying this. I have not started season 2 just yet, but you and so many different people are telling me I need to watch it. I need to get into that. I really need to watch it.
I liked it. I liked it more than season 1, actually. But it actually does some interesting things politically. It actually kind of ties back to like some of the Vietnam parallels that the original trilogy had, but kind of just puts it in a different perspective. It kind of just shows, there's a lot of the season that's focused on the treatment of the clones, which very much parallels like the treatment of real world veterans after, Vietnam, which is really cool. I love that. I thought it was really well executed. It's just the politics in Mando season 3. It's interesting. You go back to that Coruscant episode. What exactly like real world parallels is it trying to make? Because I still have had a hard time figuring that out.
I guess people from the other side being accepted into a new world or order or something. I have no idea.
Like they were using Imperial torture devices. I think showing like the flaws of the New Republic is a good thing, but it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a weird way to do it by saying, hey, they're kind of like the Empire because they're literally using Imperial torture devices. Like that's It's a little on the nose, don't you think?
Yeah, they were setting up as saying like, oh yeah, the New Order, they're just as bad as the Empire, and then like the next few episodes they were just like, we need them as backup, and then they just never touched it again. It was just like, hey, they're bad, and then that's a big issue I had with this season. It's just they set things up, and then just never delivered on them. And same with the politics episode, that went absolutely fucking nowhere. The Mythosaur went absolutely nowhere, and even when they have an episode on its own trying to tell a story, it doesn't make sense. Again, Andor episode, it was I enjoyed it, but it was like I don't understand what it was trying to tell me. I really don't. It was such a difficult time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, it's sad. But ultimately, it's like, if you look like the past 2 out of 3 Star Wars projects, I've been a big fan of 2 of them. Bad Batch and Survivor. I really liked both of those. I'm not done with Survivor yet.
Oh, is it good? Is it good? I need to get it. I need to buy that shit.
It's besides Andor, it's at least so far probably my favorite Star Wars since Siege of Mandalore. If I had to say, which is a high bar. I really love Siege of Mandalore. Yeah, no, it's just I think Mando kind of failed to deliver, and oh my god, we didn't talk about it yet, but that Jack Black episode.
Oh my god, don't even get me started. Don't even get me fucking started.
Like Jack Black, and honestly, like even reading up, I'm kind of glad Lizzo got to be in it, but my god, could they have given, like, I don't blame them in the slightest. I don't blame them one bit. I don't even blame Howard, because she was given such a horrible script. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but have you seen Chef?
Have I seen Chef? No, I have not seen Chef.
It's written and directed by Favreau, and it's a really good movie. I had to write a paper on it for my for one of my classes where we were studying it was all about the relationship between the characters. It was it wasn't for a film class. It was for like a oh my god, why am I blanking on the name of the class right now? I'm literally still taking it. What the fuck? Interpersonal communications. Jesus. Yeah, it was for interpersonal communications class, and we were just studying like the relationship between the characters. Like the dynamics and the characters are all really well fleshed out and really well written, and the dialogue in particular, at times it just feels like you're just watching a documentary. It's so natural. And I don't know where that sauce went when doing this. Like where did the sauce go?
There was no sauce. There wasn't even food on the plate, my guy. It was okay. Genuinely, right? It was the episode before where the armor goes, "We're going to retake Mandalore." I'm thinking, "Holy shit, Dad! They're going to Mandalore!" And then the next episode, it was just like Lizzo and Jet Black, and just oh my god. Honestly, every time I think about scenes about the episode, it makes me just sweat. It makes me feel embarrassed that I even watched the episode because, like you said, poor Bryce Dallas Howard, because she is such a fucking great director. Like the episode which they introduced Bo-Katan in season 2 of Mandalore, and the what probably the only good Boba Fett episode really was when Mando suddenly had to use the Darksaber. Everything about those episodes is so good. They gave us so many good episodes, but it's like there's not even anything, and they gave her like just the worst. They gave, like you said, they gave her the worst script. And how did they waste Bryce Dallas Howard? They had a gem, and it's just, like you said, nothing really happens. Like people are talking, and it doesn't feel like a conversation taking place. It generally feels like people are just reading dialogue. Like there's no flowingness, that's a new word. There's no flowingness to anything that people are saying. And I'll bring this up, right? So you got the first 2 episodes this season, really, really good. I'm enjoying it. And then up until the middle, it's just no source, no plot, no nothing. And it's like, why would you... again, why would you not want to have a plot in there somewhere? It's like even with the Clone Wars, where you've got so many episodes of Clone Wars and Rebels where there's no plot happening. It's just an occasional fun episode that's in there, and you're like, oh, I really enjoyed it, especially Chopper running around murdering people. That's one of my favorite ones. But again, those episodes were fun because it had actually an interesting story to it. This one, it was just laughably goofy, and it was just so bad, and it had no place in even a seasons one of Clone Wars. It would be embarrassing to be in there again. It was just an abysmal episode, and I hate you for bringing it up because now I'm not going to sleep.
Sorry to cut you off real quick, but I think it would fit right in with like season 1 of the Clone Wars. But the difference is that is a children's animated show, and this is a what? How much did this cost? Like
Female.
The budget. There's a big budget difference between the Clone Wars and this. I think if it were a season, and I think the fact that it was animated probably would have helped a little bit. But like that's all I could think about was like this is one of the this feels like a bottom tier Clone Wars episode. That's what I was thinking about the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, dude. And then they follow an episode that's pretty cool, but it's so little, so late, and then the finale just kind of fell flat for me. It was a severe disappointment, and it kind of killed my interest in the Mandoverse.
Yeah, don't even get me started on Filoni's movie. Oh, good grief.
Oh, we got an Ahsoka trailer, which looks cool. I mean, it looks like it could be good. And thankfully, it is all... Filoni wrote the entire thing.
Okay.
Which I can't say, like, that excites me. It's just... I'm curious more than anything, because Favreau wrote almost all of this season. So just to see what Filoni does behind the pen, I would be lying.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, you go.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I'm gleefully still optimistic about Ahsoka because I know that Filoni actually genuinely understands these characters. But
yeah.
It's like if I've been serving nothing but dog shit sandwiches, I'm not gonna expect a steak by the end of it. You know what I mean? It's just sorry to cut you off there, by the way. You go back on your tangent, my friend.
Yeah. No, it's just it's I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting to see. I think Ahsoka does look like it could be good. I genuinely do. I'm just nervous. It's got a lot. Like, if you were to like take my top 20 Star Wars characters, there are a lot of them in this show. So if they screw this one up, I'm going to be really, really sad.
Yeah, because I know how much you love Rebels. Honestly, you're like a second to Andor. You love Rebels more than I've ever seen anyone, besides maybe Prime Picks.
Well, and they got Mon Mothma and Ahsoka.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
It does excite me. It's just obviously I'm still gonna watch it, still gonna be excited for it because Ahsoka's one of my favorite characters, not just in Star Wars ever, but it's like still it's. I mean, the same could be said with Kenobi. So it's like everyone's been asking for a Kenobi show or project or movie or anything for ages, and when it came out, it felt like it was just like put together last minute.
That's the weird thing. It's like there's a lot of Star Wars that people hate that is still talked about to this day. Like, you look at that, you take Rise of Skywalker. Most people don't like that movie. But I still see it on my timeline, even if it's just a meme. Like the, somehow Palpatine returned meme. There's nothing. No memes came out of Kenobi. Nothing. It's just that movie, like that show genuinely had like no cultural impact, which is insane considering how meme the prequels are, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only meme that came from Kenobi was "Hello there," which is that was Revenge of the Sith, my guy. Honestly, it's again. I generally have not seen anyone talk about Kenobi or Boba Fett. It's like, say for example, right? People really wanted Spider-Man: No Way Home. We got it. It was incredible. So many new memes actually came from it, and they repeated old lines. I still see it on my timeline every single day. But with Kenobi, generally, nothing happened. Really, that it just generally, again, no cultural impact, and that's the thing that these shows are having. It feels that they're just recycled garbage just being shoved out. None of these shows really have. Again, obviously, I'm sure there's passion and every point to the show, but it doesn't. I can't really see it. It just feels like it's just pushed out there just to be moved on to the next show. Obviously, yeah. I wanna sit on a show and I appreciate it for what it is. It's just,
I agree.
yeah, it mind boggles me sometimes. But I don't know. I really don't know sometimes. That's the point where Star Wars is wrong. It's got to the point where it's just like I don't even know how to think or feel. I really don't. I really
Yeah.
don't. It tires me, man. It really does. I don't know what to think anymore.
I was really tired after Mando, but then I binged Bad Batch immediately following that because I wasn't keeping up as it released. And then Survivor came out, and then yesterday I saw Return of the Jedi in theaters. So now I'm kind of like, oh, we're so back, you know?
Oh, you lucky shit. I really. Oh, I need to catch that in cinemas. I really do.
And the theater was like completely full too. It was awesome.
That surprises me, actually. That really does surprise me.
No, honestly, me too, because there are so many movies out right now, you know, and a lot of them are making a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
Like a Mario movie just hit $1 billion.
that's insane. That is. That's actually insane. I mean, I've heard from some people say that that there's going to be making loads of more Nintendo movies after that. You know.
Yeah.
But
No.
yeah. Yeah, I think is I'm just feeling so low about Star Wars, but still have a slight glimmer of hope because, I think if anything, all the ones I've been genuinely excited for just let me down. But then like the ones I didn't care much about Andor, and then all of a sudden that was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. But
Yeah.
again, it's
No,
just yeah.
I think I would be more enthusiastic about on-screen Star Wars right now if it weren't so Mando-centric. Because we have 2 more shows this year, and they're all in that umbrella, right? You have Ahsoka, and then you have Skeleton Crew. We're not going to be getting a show outside of that Mando umbrella until next year with Acolytes. But on the flip side, at least next year we get both Acolytes and Andor Season 2.
Oh my God, dude, that is also when I'm pretty sure we get like Daredevil, Invincible Season 2 and like Arcane and The Boys. What, dude, next year's gonna be great. I'm gonna have you on here a lot. Like, oh, I'm so excited for next year, my guy. I really am. I really am. Next year's gonna be great. You know what? Okay, with everything that we've been saying, Disney Plus, whoever's listening, probably not anyone from Disney Plus. You're probably too busy shitting on Mando's new script, but please do not mess up Daredevil, please. Please don't.
Yeah, I'm very scared.
I tell you what, all this, we need like a sigh counter or just like a frustration bar on this video because you can't. Oh, just talking about this show it really frustrates me. It really, really does. I appreciate you being here to just ease my pain because.
Oh yeah, great.
Oh, dude, it really, really does. Yeah, but I hope at least Acolyte is good because from what I've heard, that sounds is meant to be incredible. And Andor Season 2, the little.
Yeah, it's nice to see something different. I think Acolytes is a swing, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. It sounds like it's something very different, and it sounds like it's got a good mix of people who are big Star Wars fans and people who have never, who don't give a shit about Star Wars. People don't talk about this enough, but I think it's important to have people who do not care about Star Wars working on Star Wars. Because if you don't, you very much run the risk of just kind of becoming kids playing with toys, you know?
Yeah, which we've seen in the finale. But if anything, right?
Tony Gore is not a big Star Wars fan, which I think is part of why Mando is so interesting. It doesn't feel the need to be Star Wars as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if anything, sometimes you look at Andor in certain episodes and just the theme and the actual message that Andor was trying to say, it doesn't feel like it's Star Wars at all. Like, it feels like that's what I love about it. It feels completely separate, and which I love it when a new entry comes into a franchise which feels nothing like we've ever seen in this franchise before for a good reason. And I think of what we've seen before, it's just very much trying to recycle the exact same thing, which is anything. I'm so excited for actual new stuff like Acolyte, Andor, Skeletal Crew. Those I feel like are just going to be something completely new that we've seen, because all the ones that we've seen of pre-existing characters like Kenobi, Boba Fett, it's just stuff that we've seen before and nothing new. It's just the exact same thing. Because normally with say for example with just trying to think of an example here, but whenever you get a show like Boba or Kenobi, you expect what you're going to get, but you want a surprise to come from it. But you don't even get the surprise, and you don't even get what you think you're going to get out of it at all. So it's just like you've wasted your time, and you've pissed off a bunch of fans in the process. So I'm so looking forward to just new stories, actually.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
That being said, the Mandoverse movie is going to stress me out. I can imagine it be like a CGI Han, Luke, and Leia pop up whilst Chopper is shooting next to Cal Kestis.
Don't do that to me, bro. Don't fucking put that in my head. Don't give them ideas.
Just imagine where, like, Ahsoka's in, like, the World Beyond Worlds and all these portals show up, like, in Endgame and everyone goes out. Oh god, and then they say, now this is the Star Wars or something.
Sweet Jesus, yeah, it hurts my head to think about that. It really does. Just I don't know. I hope it's good. I really do. I want it to be good. I am crossing my fingers, but my expectations are not high.
Yeah. I'm excited about what's his name? Who's directing
the James Mangold one?
Yeah, James Mangold. Oh my god, because I know that he like barely uses green screen. He's always shoots on location. So I'm excited for that first Jedi movie. That'd be great. And the Rey movie sounds quite exciting actually. So at least I've got that.
Yeah, no. I am very excited about both of those. Especially because like the James Mangold one's actually going to be set before even the Old Republic. It's going way back, so that'll be cool. I assume we'll see the Octo Temple from Last Jedi. I imagine
that would be great.
Because I think that was supposed to be like one of the first Jedi temples, right? So it makes sense that we would that we'd see that. I'm really excited. I really am. I'm looking forward.
I'm really, especially just all the new stuff. I think if just anything new concept, new stories is what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah, but anything that being said, I'm excited about Star Wars, but I'm gleefully optimistic and worried at the same time. There we go. That's my final notes. Really.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm nervous, but there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to. Bad Batch Season 3 and Andor are probably at the top of my list, and Acolytes. I'm hoping for the best, man. I really am. I know it's easy to get kind of just caught up in the negativity, and I definitely do sometimes, but I'm trying to stay optimistic.
Yeah, me too, man. With all this new stuff, we're back, baby.
Go back.
We're back. Not that we went anywhere. We're back. Oh man, yeah. So just round off my thoughts. Mando season 3 disappointed me quite a bit, but with all the new stuff coming forward, I am still really looking forward to all the new stories. I'm just I'm keeping my wits about me because of what we've seen in the past couple of years and months. So, Dan, have you got anything else to say before we wrap this up?
But no, yeah, this was a blast. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And whenever Ahsoka comes out, we'll have to hop on and talk about that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to my friend. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Dan, thank you for coming on, and see you guys in the next one. Stay groovy.